A giant red flag snapping in the winds of change. Democrats are pointing them out. They worry about conflicts of interest for the president. And a lot of people have questions about whether this is a direct open door to being able to pay to influence policy and decision-making at the highest level. The White House did not respond to our request for comment on these questions, but someone who will comment is one of the Democrats calling for an ethics probe, Senator Adam Schiff of the state of California. Senator Schiff, thank you very much for being here. Why are you so concerned, although I think it is pretty straightforward, about this crypto involvement? I mean, I guess as compared to the many other ways that the Trump family leverages the name and has done so in the first term and now again in the second.
Well, Tony, my concern is that this is a massive way for the president to enrich himself by selling access to himself, potentially selling positive dispositions of cases, fraud cases against people, selling influence to foreign powers and foreign parties. Because this is not like he's hosting a fundraising event, this gala dinner that he has just announced. It's not like this money is going to go into his campaign or someone else's campaign. No, this money goes straight into Donald Trump's pocket. When people buy this meme coin, he gets transaction fees. So when that coin goes up in value or goes down in value, it doesn't really matter. It all goes into his pocket. And I think the best estimates are that hundreds of millions of dollars have already flowed to the president and his family through this meme coin scheme. We saw one investor, for example, who had a fraud case against him when he bought tens of millions of dollars worth of Trump meme coin. Suddenly, that fraud case against him was suspended. That's a Chinese foreign national. So this is an opportunity for the most blatant graft. And I think part of the reason why it is so hard to wrap your head around is it's all out in the open. It's not being hidden. And in a way, that really serves to conceal the magnitude of this graft, because people were tempted, I think, to feel, hey, if he's doing it openly, it can't be corrupt. But actually, it can. And this, I think, is one of the most massive corruption schemes that we've seen in modern history.
But, Senator, let's linger on this all out in the open, not being hidden thing, because I remember in the first Trump administration, there's a lot of energy focused on criticizing the hotel that was in D.C. and also Mar-a-Lago, the idea that foreign governments or anybody really could be paying for things at the hotel. That would enrich the family. It would be seen favorably. Voters know that this area of Trump's business life is there, and they seemed comfortable enough with it to reelect him by wider margins than the first time around. So if voters are okay with this, why are you taking such particular issue?
I don't think voters are okay with this at all. I don't think voters voted for Donald Trump because they wanted to further embolden him to steal from people, to turn the White House into some kind of a cash register through some meme coin. I don't think that was it at all. They wanted him to improve the economy. They wanted him to bring down prices. And in fact, his tariff war, his on-again, off-again tariffs, are driving our economy into a ditch and only raising prices for people. So he's reneged on what he promised. He certainly didn't promise the American people that he was going to raise hundreds of millions of dollars for himself in this ugly, blatant way. So I don't think you can say that was his campaign pledge.
Even if people are turning the other cheek to it or unaware, don't care, with an ethics probe, what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, I think the more that we shed light on this and just how he is corrupting the government to his own ends, the more we can contrast that with the fact that families are struggling. The economy just contracted, really a remarkable and negative performance in his first 100 days. But Donald Trump personally, his economy is doing better than ever. I think it shows the American people where his priorities are, and that is making money for himself, making money for his kids, and as for average Americans, working families, he could care less. And I think it's important for American people to know that and to reject this perversion of the Oval Office.
You know, Senator, I guess the way I would phrase it is not that voters approved or are okay, but they appear to be comfortable with the exposure or the dynamics that you're describing here. But what you're laying out is the beginning of a message that Democrats will use as they head toward the midterms I'm curious if you could expand on that. We've heard a lot, and people have talked about the Democratic brand being in the toilet relative to where it's been in the past and relative to Republicans at the moment. What do you think Democrats need to do ahead of the midterms to revive the party and make gains?
Well, first of all, Tony, I don't think people are okay with this corruption by Trump and the Trump family. I don't think they're okay with that at all. I think that's why you see his numbers going down. But in terms of the Democratic numbers and the need for them to go up, I think it's not enough to rely on the president and his self-destructive economic policies. We have to be offering positive, forward-looking agenda for the American people. In my view, I would love to see us advocating a housing boom for this country. I'd like to see the Democratic Party, like Eisenhower, who was known for building roads and highways, become known as the party that is building vast amounts, millions of new homes, bringing down the cost of housing for people, addressing homelessness, expanding health care is another huge, big priority for me and I think for the party. So we have to make that positive case as well if we're going to improve our own standing with voters, even as the president seems to be destroying his standing by hurting the economy and by this open graft.
All right, Senator Schiff, thank you. We appreciate that.
Well, we have some curious parties here that want to know, and I am one of them. Who do you think will lead Democrats to this bright future?
I think, candidly, it's unclear at this point. I think this early in the cycle, we didn't know that Barack Obama would be Barack Obama. We need sort of a melding of the moment with the right person, and that moment 2 years from now to lead our party may be different than today. So I really can't tell you, but we have a wide, talented, deep bench to choose from.
All right.
Thank you. Senator Schiff, we appreciate the time.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.